They call it patriotism, but we call it what it is: pure, unfiltered bullshit. Welcome to Bluebird on Your Shoulder, where we cut through the MAGA madness with brutal honesty and zero apologies. No sugarcoating, no fake civility, just three guys, middle-aged and pissed off, breaking down the absurdity of right-wing delusion one episode at a time. If you think America deserves better than conspiracy theories and cult worship, you're in the right place. Liberal? Hell yes. Woke? Not a chance. We're here to roast the madness, expose the lies, and call out the grift. Because the only thing worse than MAGA's nonsense is pretending it makes sense. New episodes every week. Buckle up.
We're back on another exciting, fun-filled, executive order-filled, bullshit-filled, more drama-filled. Uh, the Bluebird on your podcast Twitter algorithm has shifted to a very horrible place. And as I was just informed before the call, the president's fitness test is back. Because the most unfit president we've had in like a hot minute. If like I think Clinton and him maybe a toss up, but then I think you gotta go back a minute before you get this guy. And then we have the latest break is governing by tweet or X post. Construction in September starts on the 90,000 square foot ballroom addition to
Two
the
hundred
White
million
House.
dollars.
I knew one of you probably knew the figure. I saw the tweet from the White House official. The fact that the government agencies have social media managers is wild to me. Like, this isn't Wendy's. So Wendy's is the best corporate social media account ever. If you don't know what it is, you should check it out. So that's good times. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not, so 200 million, that's not actually a wild number for 90,000 square feet in the White House. I
Yeah,
don't
that's true.
I don't think that that's crazy, but and I'll be honest, like I don't want to give him credit, but it might be dope.
I mean, they already have one is the thing. It's basically a renovation of.
Yeah, but from what I did read, and I'm pretty sure like these are probably going to be, oh Jesus, it's fucking Caroline. It's probably going to be like true. Is it's smaller than like most state dinners should be, and like I'm just not against it. Like I'm not like if they do it, if it's not gaudy like a Trump hotel,
Right.
like if it's what presidential, like a White House, if it's got a White House vibe to it and not a Trump vibe to it, which I know odds of that are like 2.7%.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be dope, and I'm not against that. Now, I the part I take away that I don't understand is you have these super fiscal conservative people who are like, yeah, 150 billion brought in by tariffs. You taxed America real good. Wait, they don't know it's a tax. And are like, you shouldn't spend more money. And then he passes the bill that spends more money by triple any other bill before in history, and then drops another 200 million on a White House expansion. I mean, I'm not like people don't like that he goes to Scotland and golfs, and I don't even care about
I
all
was
that.
10 million.
Yeah, I don't, but I don't even care about all that, bro, because that's a penny in the bucket in
Right.
taxation. Right. But you pass this bill that is not a penny in the bucket.
Sure.
Then you drop 200 million on a Reno, and like I think all the presidents go somewhere. Biden going back to Delaware probably wasn't cheap, even though it's not 10 million. It's probably way more expensive than it should be, and it could be 10 million because security is expensive.
Right.
Yeah, but you're talking about a plane with all of the extras and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean it is different, but
Yeah, I don't know if he was. I don't. It just it
Well,
doesn't.
going to DC to Delaware is a whole lot shorter than,
Yeah, well,
you know.
he goes to Mar-a-Lago a lot too, right? And
oh
I'm
Yeah.
yeah, like
just not.
every week.
Yeah, I'm just not against it. Like, I'm just not against that part of it. There's plenty to fucking not like him for and hate him for
But
that
he
I
said he
guess.
would be so busy he wouldn't have time to play golf.
And
Okay,
and he and the amount of grief that he gave other presidents
Right.
for doing half as much vacationing, half as much leisurely time as him. You
okay.
know?
So I will give you that part of it, and I will give you that, like, that's what he had, right? Like you had to be that petty to have any shape of political argument against your opponent, right? Like, I get that.
Well,
Especially
And
yeah, but it
Obama.
just comes down to holding him accountable because they want to say they want to hold past presidents accountable for their flaws, but you don't want to hold him accountable for anything.
no, we have plenty to hold him accountable for that are big somethings that we don't need his golfing or his going to
I
Mar-a-Lago,
I agree.
like,
Like I'm fine with presidents having their leisurely time. It's the hypocrisy that I don't like.
Yeah.
yeah, fucking, like I said, his hypocrisy in that
Is established.
realm, like,
Like
not not
that's
shocking.
Monday 10 a.m.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all day 10 a.m. Dude, every day. That's days that end in Y from
Right.
sun up to sundown. So it's just who he is. Like, I think when we get petty, it's that side only understands petty, and they do petty better than us. Like, they're pros at it, right? Like, it's just a part of the deal. Um, we don't need to get petty. We got, like, real shit. Like
They don't need
him.
that either. So like, I
Well,
mean,
their latest greatest. They're still on this Obama Hillary. And if you remember, do y'all remember the Durham report
Yeah.
yeah,
where Durham came out and said there was there, but he's too old to prosecute, so we're going to move on with our life. So
yeah.
was that the Durham? I'm pretty sure that was the Durham.
I don't think that was Durham because, and speaking of the
Durham,
Durham report, I know Charlie Kirk had some documents that were quote unquote
Charlie
found
Kirk
in a
don't have any.
burn bag, basically stating that.
Charlie Kirk don't have any fucking documents
Oh
in
no,
the
he posted
burn.
them. They were
Uh,
redacted.
yeah, they came from Grassley. Like, this is where I'm
Yeah.
going. They
Yeah.
came from Grassley, which I guess supposedly Cash Patel is the director of the FBI, and he said they're the ones who found them.
Yeah, they said they found a whole what they call a
Yeah, but
burn
then
bag.
so the official I saw from Grassley and that didn't have a ton of weird stuff. Like, I've seen some of the make believe stuff that's probably not real. But
Right.
what they had here was real, but they're like, oh yeah, it says this. And I'm like,
But it
I
doesn't
can.
really say that when you read
Well, but
it.
but it's like a picture of what it says, right? It's a
Yeah.
picture of the type. It's a printed email, right? It's like blop, and I'm like, but I can read.
Yeah.
I can read, right? Oh, you're not talking to me because they're like, this is what it says, and they don't even click the picture and read it. It's four sentences.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that at all. It says that they think that intelligence agencies are going to do this and this, and they think the information is going to come out here. And it literally says in there, but they haven't found any information yet. This is the hoax, and this is proof of the cover up because they're admitting that they can't find evidence. They're
Right.
not saying it. They're not saying it happened. They're not saying, well, did you fabricate that evidence yet? They're saying at this time they haven't uncovered anything, unfortunately.
So
So we would
speaking,
like this.
go ahead.
No.
Oh, and say speaking of that, I did see earlier today there are rumors of, and it may gain traction that Obama is now a private citizen, and as a private citizen, he can have a defamation case against Bondi and Trump, and it's rumored to be around $100 billion.
Would never do it. He would never
No,
do it.
he
That man.
won't, but it's there.
No, yeah, it's there, but that man has class.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He wouldn't,
he would never hurt the American people, and that's all that would hurt.
right? Because that's where that money's going to come from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As him, the seating president, it wouldn't come from him personally.
Right. Yeah, no, he'd never do it. He does because I'm seeing some of the documents they're basing these theorems off of.
Yeah.
Like, those are becoming public and unclassified, and that's not. I can read.
Yeah.
It's like I don't. Okay, cool. Wow. I mean, I saw it, right? Oh my God, do they really say that? Because if they really say that, and you can prove to me that these are legitimate, you've accomplished making me question myself.
Well, the same
Maybe
thing,
they
just for
did
like
do
with the Epstein
this.
files, is if they set it, if they knew it and they did nothing about it, hold them accountable as well.
Right.
It's not a
No,
Democrat
yeah.
Republican
Well,
thing.
and
It's a
No.
you did
so
wrong, you
so
need to be held accountable.
so here's the thing with that. Like, that's not how investigations work. All right. So investigators investigate, they follow the evidence, they put it together in a package, and then they give it to a prosecutor to evaluate to determine if they can bring charges.
Right.
That's how it works. And just because there was an investigation happening during their administration doesn't mean that they tried to do anything with it or said that it needed to go anywhere. They were waiting on the investigators to finish, the prosecutors to finish, and then they were going to make a decision. They talked about that.
Yep.
I remember when, when the one time that they actually addressed it, they said, we will release things as we decide, at the outcome of the investigation. When the prosecutors decide whether or not they're going to bring charges or anything like that, at that point we will evaluate whether or not we release information about it. But so, this whole like now they were holding on to it because what? Like the guy that apologized because a girl might have thought that he sniffed her hair, and this one secretary that he had 30 years ago took something that he said, to be inappropriate, and he apologized for that as well. That's the guy that we're worried about, having something to do with the Epstein Island.
Yeah. Speaking of weird shit like that, did you guys see that there was a reporter that sat down with Epstein before he was convicted and is now coming out and telling that Epstein told him, like, during the interview, wait a minute, and he went to a secret safe that he had and presented him with a picture of Trump sitting with two 15-year-old girls topless with a stain, as they quoted in the article, on his pants.
This is
That
an old.
matches up with a story that was told by one of the victims.
Yeah.
No, yeah, this is all like you're in a really like there's a lot of crazy out there over the Epstein, and AI is capable of a lot, like a lot more.
Yeah.
Like there's TikToks now, there's solely AI, solely. Like this
Wow.
one is six bunnies jumping on a trampoline, right? It's like a 7-second video. It's got like 46 million likes and like 250 million views, which means it's went viral in every country in the world. And that creator is going to rake like 1.2, 1.5 million off one video. It's going to be the richest video ever. It was literally a 7-second video that was completely AI generated. But you have to have a really good eye to realize it's not real. And that good eye starts at this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right.
6 bunnies on the side of a trampoline, and then they all start hopping on it for
Oh,
10
yeah, I did
seconds.
see it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the most viral video in TikTok history. And it did it in a day and a half.
See, I knew instantly it was AI.
Yeah, but so people who aren't around AI all the time don't know it, right? And it's
Well,
good
I
enough to
also
fool the
I
average person.
also I used to have rabbits, like
Well, yeah. So your first trigger is not that it's the video quality anymore. That's
right.
not right.
Yeah,
Then your
because
brain will go to the next level. But there's people out there, majority of them, that don't know that's not right. So the
yeah,
trigger never happens. And the video is so good and done and real, and
no, it's
it
grainy.
looks like a yeah, it looks like a Ring camera would look. It
Yeah,
does everything the way it's supposed to do it.
yeah.
And it looks exactly like that. And that dude had an AI and prompted an AI and go, this video is good and posted it. He's going to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
So
You
what
know
you're
what I'm
saying is
saying?
there's a lot of dumb, gullible people that are going to go buy trampolines.
P.T. Barnum told us that almost 120 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's never been not true. It was true then and it's true now. Which it was, well, yeah, 100 and fuck, dude. 120, 1900, 120 some years ago. That sucks. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they've been, I'm probably wrong about when P.T. Barnum lived. It's probably the 50s. So I don't do good with time, especially not 100 years ago. But he said it suckers born every minute, right? It's a long, long time ago. So yeah, I mean, there's tons of pictures of him with people. They were obviously friends, bro. There's no the
Oh
fact
yeah.
that there are files. They've admitted to files.
Is there though?
There is, but I don't think the files have what people think they do. I don't think there's a list. I don't think there's a black book. I think she might be partially the black book, but I don't think there's an actual black book because I also don't think maybe these people were arrogant enough, but I don't think they were stupid enough.
Well, there's always
There's
been
absolutely a flight log
there's
though
always
that
been
that
a
was
no
submitted in
cameras,
court.
no documentation type of, we do everything on the phones, and we make sure that we're not being able to be tapped type of thing. Like, yeah, you're right. They're not stupid.
They're
Well,
not
I mean,
stupid.
if there's anything that Ryan and I have talked about in the past from his first term is, so I watched this podcast, Sammy the Bull Gravano, John Gotti's hitman, has a podcast. It's very interesting. He tells his whole upcoming through the mob and how it ended and everything, talks about Cosa Nostra, blah, blah, blah. He talks about Trump in this. He mentions he is a friend of the family. And let's just be honest. I mean, he even said, like, they washed the money through Trump's, real estate.
Yeah.
So back then, it's just common knowledge. You don't do business in New York City back then without paying the mob.
Right.
So he knows how that works. So, he may be the Teflon Don for real. They may never get him.
Yeah. So one comment on that outside of the main point, I always find it interesting that you call him the hitman, which he was, but he's most famous for being the rat that caught Gotti.
Well,
so
he essentially, if you fully read the story though and know about it,
he
basically snitched because Gotti was going to give him up.
Sure.
So at that point, he felt at that point that Cosa Nostra was violated, so he was like, "Fuck you."
Fair enough. I guess you tell yourself whatever you need to tell yourself to sleep better. So like I said, we grew up with different dads, dude. My view on that world and your view on that world are very different. And I have no idea why my dad. Yeah, I have no idea why my dad's view on that world was what it was, and we'll leave it at that. He's gone now. I'll never know, and I'm good with that. Cop. Yeah, in New York City during the height of the mob.
Yeah, all right.
Interesting how money can happen. Like, they have friends. I'm actually watching NYPD Blue on the Disney Channel right now. So, but yeah, interesting we got off, but you're not wrong, right? Like, it's not, I just don't think there's a list. I don't think that there's a group of names. I think there's a whole bunch of names that came up in a whole bunch of different conversations or photographs or testimony or this or this or this, right? But I think unless you're her or somebody who was there. Now, do I think it was real and it happened? I think there's enough there. Yeah. I think I think that I believe the people who have the stories, right? I think I believe them. That have given the testimony. Okay, so it was happening and it was happening to some scale, and like the rich and the powerful find devious things to entertain and engage themselves it's a known psychological concept, right? Like,
and that's been going on since the beginning of time,
right?
So it's
well thought that over 3/4 of the Fortune 500 CEOs have cluster B personality because they can just run through people, because getting to that point, empathy isn't going to help you.
Right.
To get to the top of a massive company, because you have to be ruthless, right? Because it's a capitalism. So for you to tell me all these rich and powerful
people,
well, yeah, indifferent, right? Which typically ends up you doing something. Trust me, I know. So but you get to, so rich and powerful people who've acquired great power and great wealth, I'm going to assume that them having psychopathic or sociopathic or borderline or narcissistic tendencies isn't
Is a
weird,
given.
and this could fall in that wheelhouse, right?
Yep.
Like it could absolutely, and it's sick and it's twisted, and we should kill them all. Like
Right.
publicly try, convict, and execute
I
public.
keep saying we need to start eating them, you know?
Yeah, no,
So
that's
here's something that so in regard to what you said, like I don't think that there's a black book. I think that this, the body of investigative files is what the Epstein files is. And here's an article talking about some of that. And what it talks about is treasury documents. So more than 7,000 Epstein wire transfers, and some of that kind of stuff has been found by the Treasury Department.
no,
So,
I mean, I'm with, right. No, all of this makes sense that it was probably happening, and there's probably, but I don't think there's a list of names you can give us. I don't.
but
Maybe
but
wire
that
transfers
but
could
that
give
will
us a
give us
list.
names.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's or it won't. Just like the
Well,
mob finds their way to put their money in the Bahamas, right? Like, and nobody knows how it got there, and they
well, that's what took so
where there's a legal way to do something, there's an illegal way to do something.
right.
There's a way to remain anonymous across the board once you have power and money.
Yes, but things like Trump sending money to Cohen, like there are mistakes like that happen because
Oh
they're
no, for
overly
sure.
confident about certain
Well,
relationships.
Yeah.
yeah, so certain
So
cluster B personalities would be pretty bad at this, like Trump, which wouldn't surprise me why there's so much information that he was involved.
right,
Right?
so
I think it says enough about him when when I don't know if it was him himself, but his administration reached out to Diddy's lawyers about a possible pardon.
I've seen that a few places. I haven't seen it anywhere I consider viable from Git, and I haven't verified it.
It
But
was
I
reported on CNN
okay,
this
fine. That's
afternoon.
I don't do a ton of mainstream. If I'm short on topics for the week, which typically I'm not because Twitter keeps me full, then I might take a gander at what mainstream's saying. I like there's a few really good news TikTokers. Like they seem to present facts unbiased as possible. I mean, I've verified them for years, like year and a half, 2 years plus. They're always right because it's just the facts. They give no opinion. Now, I
Right.
do think they probably lean left based on appearance, but that's judging a book by its cover. I don't know. I think it's a crazy situation. I think there's a reason that he's not outright releasing what he has or dictating them to do. That's all that makes you're facing all this heat, which he doesn't like, right? Like, so he's a
Right.
malignant narcissist, right? Like that's his cup of tea, right? And it's so textbook that anyone who has had 12 minutes with the DSM-5 could fucking diagnose it. So, like, you do not need to. And when every rigid professional has had peer reviewed clinical studies published on observing him and his behaviors and that he's a malignant narcissist.
including
Yeah,
his
he's going
leaks.
crazy about it too because all his distractions ain't working, and all of a sudden they're talking about,
Right.
oh, we're going to release him, and then it's, I'm going to prosecute Obama.
Yeah, he stole her. I mean, I didn't want to, dude.
Right.
Like he publicly because it's there, right? And he knows it's there. And now, one of the things I did want to talk about this week, like I said, I'm in a weird zone. I'm in the cat turd led mega, which if anyone watching this knows, they know. So there's literally been a push, like so we're attacking the Obama really hard. Now there's a new thing about Clinton that came out today, with the Grassley, and that this was all, and they're going to arrest them. And I'm gonna be really if it's what I read, they're not gonna arrest them. If they don't arrest them, okay, cool, whatever. It's just more political propaganda that they're gonna buy into. However, if they do arrest them based on what I've read, I'm gonna follow that court hearing real well because I'm pretty sure that like even the dumb ones have to admit it's fascism now.
Yeah.
Right.
So, because there's no way they did that. You know what I'm saying? And they did it to Trump. But one of the things I have seen, and it's coming from a really small sect of people, Um, Actually very into Charlie Kirk's sect, but not Charlie Kirk. So Charlie Kirk's the leader of TPUSA, which is very religious, right?
Yeah.
Um, they're saying things like in the Bible they were 14 and it should be okay and things of that
Slavery was okay
transition
400 years
nature.
ago too. Doesn't mean it should be okay now.
But like I'm starting to see that push, right? To like
Yeah.
normalize it based on like
Right.
Christianity.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if we're really that, so this is now I'm starting to label as the extreme cult, right? Like they've so you had the Epstein thing has broken. It's fractured MAGA for sure.
Oh
There's
yeah.
not as many of them for sure. However, it has made certain groups quadruple down to the point we're going to justify it because now we know it's true and we got to find a way for it to be okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna say, well, they did it in the Bible, so it's cool. And I'm like, we're really fucking saying this. Like, it's really coming out of real people in real America. They really think this. And fuck you. What's wrong with you? You know, so I just told somebody on there earlier that their mother did a terrible job. She should be fucking ashamed. So look, I Cheryl did a great job for me or I'd probably not be here on this podcast talking to y'all. So she did, she did a great job, and I still went left hard. So, but no, it's just that I'm seeing that like that sent me into convulsions. Like that's the first like, wow, you're really like you can defend it, say he's not, say it's all a hoax, say it's all a lie. The ones that are in that realm, okay, cool. But the ones who are like, no, I think they're right, he did it, so let's justify it. Ooh, you're fucked up, dude. You're fucked up in a whole different kind of way.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, then another big one. So he did strike a few trade deals. Um, they're decent. They're not good or bad for either party for the most part. They will hurt U.S. auto workers in a lot of ways. That's a fucking keeps fucking the unions, the blue collar workers, man. They're just not his favorite people. Never were. The New York Democrat. So, but he keeps doing that. But he has gotten a few right. Um, it wins U.S. tariff deal. Pakistan probably did. But then he dropped a executive order a little bit ago that 92 countries have different tariffs, but every other country in the world it's 10% flat. He brought in 150 billion through the end of July, I guess, which they said that, but I don't know how they know because July isn't over yet. But maybe that's a different process. There's a lot I don't know enough that side, right? But it was
This
definitely
just came out an
it,
hour ago.
yeah, it was definitely yeah. So he's doing some of that, right? But he keeps writing exemptions in. So like India, he hit with a 25, but Apple has an exemption for any of the iPhones they build there. Like so, like the number one export, it's exempt. So,
Yeah.
because that company like told you that's not cool. But I mean, January through June, first half. So first half of the year, the semi-annual, it was 75 billion this year, which definitely was like what was it 40 last year? So we're almost 100% increase, right? An 80 something percent increase year over year, and you were in the 30 to 40 range, 35 to 40 range pretty much every other year in the decade. So he has increased tariff revenue. That has happened. Credit given. Now that's a tax on the American people. The problem is the people are saying that, well, it's not making my prices go up, right? Which prices are kind of rising. But what the prices that aren't rising, I think, is why people don't understand what's really happening. So the prices that are rising and the tariffs that have been paid, there's a lot of high, like we import some things we need for stuff that is higher end, like metals and minerals and like things that people don't know we necessarily import. And there's major contractors out there that are like paying the price increase, for but they're not consumer goods.
Right.
because consumer goods said, oh, fuck, he's going to do this. And consumer goods are non perishable. They front loaded
Yeah.
Mhm.
and said, we're going to buy quadruple what we normally buy before the tariffs hit. And they front loaded, and you watch our ports. You can go onto the website and watch in real time the boats. Right when he starts announcing all this craziness, he Paul, dude, all these full boats started pouring in, bro. People were like, million
And
dollar
then
containers, and it's
and then the
loaded.
manifest went empty there for a while.
Right. No, but then
Yeah.
next quarter came around and
Mhm.
no boats were coming. Why?
Yeah.
Because they didn't need to import anything because they front loaded consumer side because they're prepping you for it.
Yep.
And they're going to not do it to you because then they're going to not do it to you until Christmas.
Well, what they're doing is they're already ticking up prices,
Correct.
but they bought at the lower amount. So
Mhm.
they're making a higher profit right now in
Mhm.
anticipation of that where
Well,
they have to.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because they don't
So
raise it 20 cents on you. They only raise it another 6 cents because they've already raised it 12 cents slowly. And you
right.
didn't notice it was going up a penny and a half a month.
Yep.
And now it's 12 cents more. And then when they do get hit, but the high end consumer, they're going to hit you in Christmas. And they're going to hit you when you're going to spend money no matter what. And they're going to
Right.
adjust you to those prices in that moment because the consumerism works in a very set way. It's,
Yep.
Black Friday is still Black Friday. It's still the best retail day of the year, even though retail is more or less dead or online. But they're going to hit us everywhere there. That's when your TVs and your electronics are all going to go up. This is going to go up. This is going to go up because they don't have enough money to front load for that season at the beginning of the year because retail companies don't work like people think companies work like their bank accounts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they don't. When they
No.
make 45 million or 152 million in a quarter, that goes to certain places that isn't in their bank.
Right.
So, and it has to go in these places for them to continue to be able to either scale or stay ahead of competition. Money has to be spent certain ways. So they still only can allocate X for inventory and they already quadrupled it. They can't 10x it. They can't 20x it. It's what it would take to get through Christmas. So, and China's sitting there licking their chops because they still have to. Nobody is making loop bags, dude. It's not happening. It's not. And then his GDP came out up 3%. Jerome Powell held rates. They're fucking real mad about this, but not that part yet. Definitely we'll get into that part. But the part I want to show out really importantly is that the economy did do fairly well in quarter two. But when you look at Q2, with a fine tooth comb, when you start looking at where they did lose jobs, it was in manufacturing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I lost 14,000 jobs in manufacturing. Certain sectors are exploding, like high tech. Hey guys, in MAGA, let me explain something to you. You're not the ones in the high tech jobs.
No, those are college graduates.
Yeah, those are the liberals that went to the indoctrination universities.
Yeah.
That's who gets those jobs. The manufacturing that lost 14,000 and its hiring is a stalemate. That's your job. That's the jobs you want them to bring. So you want us to bring back manufacturing, but we're bleeding manufacturing jobs. Why? They didn't need you because they front ended their imports.
Yep.
So his tariffs cost you your jobs directly. And you just don't understand that because you think smart people are stupid. So, but yeah, so he did that. So he did hold rates. And you were talking about that before we got started. So why don't you explain to them why he held rates? Because you're dead on the money.
You talking about me or Josh?
You were the one talking
Me.
about why he held rates.
Okay, so there's a lot of different factors. They held rates because of the forecasting of what they're seeing, the trend, and that is essentially, yes, the GDP went up. And that was good compared to the first quarter. But the consumer buying went up, inflation went up, and they're seeing a trend going forward to the third and fourth quarter, that is going, the inflation is going to continue to rise, even though it rose at what was expected. Doing the tariffs, Powell said that, they have a little bit clearer picture as to what the tariffs are. However, we're not going to see the effects of those until August. He said that a couple of times. He reiterated that today, that we're going to see some of these tariffs that he had put into place. I think probably the first quarter are actually going to hit. I know I saw your basic groceries are up 8% compared to this time last year. So to my friend who was on Facebook saying, what's better from 24 to 25? Grocery prices were fucking down, you moron. So just the trend, when they talk about cutting rates, they're not doing that for a right now. They're doing that on projections. Kind of like how the stock market is all about how you feel. These are all hard number trends. And when they're seeing trends of things not being good, and when they're looking at core things and not skewed to make their party look good, like they want to say, oh, GDP's way up, the economy's booming, we're bringing back jobs. You're not bringing back jobs. Cost of living is up and people are losing jobs and wages aren't up to circumvent the increase in goods. So that's why he held. There is projections from, I pay attention a lot to the last probably close to 10 years of my life. The CEO from JP Morgan, or the CEO from Goldman Sachs and the president of JP Morgan, they're both have been pretty spot on about when they're going to do cuts or when a recession's going to happen. And yes, a recession technically is 3 consecutive quarters of no GDP growth or a loss. So yes, technically right now we are not in a recession, but the trends are showing that it is around the corner, and these tariffs are probably going to drive us to that. But with that being said, it is speculated that there will be 3 cuts this year at the way the trends are going, and it will be September and October and December, and they're guesstimating anywhere from a 0.25%, which is the norm, to a 0.5%, which is considered pretty aggressive. So you're talking, let's just say a half of a whole percent, if that makes sense, up to a full percent by the end of the year.
50 basis points up to 100 basis points.
Correct. Thank you. Yes. Which I have learned being in the mortgage industry, that when they do those cuts, that doesn't necessarily affect the mortgage rates. It just directly affects the short-term borrowing, which is your credit cards.
No, for sure. It's definitely, 100%, because the mortgage rates are based
because
on
the last,
30-year bond yield.
4 to 6 times, if you want to say over the course of 2 to 3 years that they've cut rates, mortgage rates went up.
Yep. No, 100%, because we don't need that. And you're talking about Jamie Dimon. He is the CEO of Chase, JP Morgan Chase. So he's not the president; he's the CEO.
Okay, so then I had him flip.
Yeah. It's
because I know Jamie one Dimon was the CEO.
One was Jamie Dimon's a big Trump supporter, though.
He is, but he's also been pretty outspoken about.
He's been very on spot of what's going to happen with the rates, because that's his fucking job to know.
They better be. That's their job, dude. The guys who run the banks in the mortgage, or they're in the mortgage, the banks, the mortgage industries, Wall Street. They better know what they're talking about when it comes to the economy.
He was one of them that was there when Trump bragged about, making all these guys money when he was first fucking with the economy, threatening all kinds of tariffs.
Well, it does.
Yeah, they've been pretty spot on, Pride. Like I said, the better part of a decade, they've been pretty spot on. I mean, and then probably longer, but since I started paying attention to what they've been saying, it's the better part of a decade. They've been pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So they're very, you know what I'm saying? They do their thing.
Yep.
So I got to give them credit on that. So yeah, I don't know. Like he's gonna hold the rate steady because he's on sure, right? He's on who knows what's gonna happen because he believes it too. But he's not gonna come out and say it because that just pisses him off, right? Um,
Well, and there's
so
nobody with any common sense in that position that when you see inflation up is going to cut rates. If anything, they would raise it to try to stop the inflation, like hold on to your money.
yeah, like I was saying last week, though, inflation has been pretty much flat for the better part of 18 months now.
Yeah.
Right between 2.5% and 3.5%. It's floated in that range the whole time. So I think I don't know. That might be stagflation. We might be able to actually call it what it is, right? That it's stagflation, and it's gonna, like I said though, I'm here for it, bro. I'm truly here for it. Drop it to zero, heat this motherfucker up, and let's see what happens. So it'll be a good time. It'll be a good time, right? Like so. They're going to go wild. He needs to hand out more stimulus checks too. Then you just got to buy whatever you see on Reddit that morning and or Twitter now, and then you can be rich. Because the retail investors will buy the shit out of it, and then you sell before the investor or the big mega firms come in and crush them in shorts and take all their money away from them. So because they know what they're doing, that's their job. Because they also went to those indoctrination centers.
Yeah.
So, it's weird that all these people with educations consistently become successful. It's fucking strange.
By the way, people,
Um,
disclaimer, we are not financial advisors.
yeah, definitely you're not financial. No, I'd be a terrible financial advisor. I'd be a really bad guardian angel too. Things of these nature are not for me. So you want to start a riot and fuck shit up? Let's go. Not literally, but yeah. So I'm here for it. Probably not a riot though. That shit's out of control. Groupthink is a terrible thing. So groupthink's a horrible thing. So we definitely have, the economy. But here's the other thing I've realized, right? So now something that did happen to him in his first term, and it seemingly wasn't going to happen, is happening. So where we collectively, this is like episode I think 28, maybe 29. So what that means, we've been doing this over half a year.
Half a year.
We've been doing it for over half a year, and we're still talking about tariffs and what they're going to be and what they're not going to be and where they're going to be and where they're not going to be. And we're still talking about how they're going to affect the economy because we don't know yet because they're on and they're off and they're on and they're off and they're on
Happy
and they're off and
Thursday.
they're on and they're off. And then it was Epstein, then Epstein, no Epstein, Epstein, no Epstein, 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 no Epstein, no Epstein, 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 no Epstein. And the same thing's fucking happened. It's fucking Groundhog Day all
Yeah.
over again. We're 6 months in and we're not talking about new shit. So he bombed Iran. He supported Israel, right? And he had a bunch of leaders in his office in the beginning there that he humiliated or looked stupid in front of. Either way, looked stupid in front of. Now he doesn't do that anymore. So like, it's not. It's just the same three topics over and over and over in an endless cycle because nothing's fucking happening, right?
Right.
20,000 automatic rifles to Israel. Yeah, that happened. Or no, they rejected it.
We
And now
failed to block. We failed to block another bill sending more weapons to Israel.
so we
So,
did send more weapons to Israel.
yep.
Well,
More
yeah,
genocide on our hands.
I mean yeah, that's about to be over, unfortunately. That's really sad. That'll go down in history at some point. It's there's a lot of this is so fucked up to say, but I'm me, so I can say it. I'm not the irony isn't lost on me here. The irony isn't lost on me here.
That those that were victims of genocide have become the biggest offenders of genocide since.
Yeah, and they're gonna create a new victim of genocide that a new group of people are gonna say
That might, fly planes into buildings again, you
it's
know.
it's weird, right? Like it's a really weird like I don't know. It's how do you of all people genocide another people?
Yeah.
That doesn't make a lot like it's the irony's not lost on me. There's a lot of irony in that. Like the fucking people think irony is funny and it's not always funny. But this is very ironic. Like that's there's a word, it's in a Merriam, you look it up, it means things. Then there's a colloquialism of the word. So, but yeah, it's not like, wow, y'all really fucking killing everybody. So like I know they just tried to send another big flotilla with a bunch of supplies. Nope, didn't make it. They arrested them. So he's definitely
Have you
threat.
seen the imagery, the before and afters of
Oh yeah, oh
entire
yeah,
cities
oh yeah,
just
gone, dude. It's gone.
decimated?
No, it's gonna be a resort.
Makes you
He
sick.
wasn't bullshitting, bro. I was probably one of four people on the planet that knew he wasn't bullshitting when he said it. And I know I was one of the only people on the planet screaming it pre-election. Yeah, you're probably right that she's going to support it and we're going to continue to support it. You're probably right. But he's going to build a golf course on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And that's the relative difference is she's going to support it. And then at one point we'll do what we do and we'll condemn it and move on and act like we were on the right side the whole time. Right. Like that's the MO. He's not. He's going to celebrate it and build a fucking golf course on it. And now there's going to be a golf course on dead Palestinian children. Like, isn't one worse than the other? Both, if you, all your options are horrible or horribler,
Yeah.
what
Well,
do you
and that's
choose?
the thing. Like we need to remember that, we held a court in Geneva and we determined which Nazis were horrible, and then we determined which ones were just really bad, and in this case, we are sitting in horrible. Like,
Right? Um, so another interesting flip this week, which isn't a full flip, he's been moving this way, but he's totally shifted the tide on Russia.
yeah,
Like
well, he
he
feels.
sent weapons to the Ukraine. He sent weapons to them.
No, he didn't. He
Well,
sent
he did.
he sent weapons over to Europe to be sent to Ukraine.
Fair shit, same shit, bro. He
No,
knew
he
where
didn't.
they were going. Yeah, he didn't, right, but whatever. Even MAGA was saying, "I can't believe you did this." That was one of the things prior to the fracture, right? So they knew. But he's threatening severe sanctions against Russia, giving them deadlines, 10 to 12 days to stop and de-escalate. And what what happened? What
He feels like Putin's playing him, which he has been.
the
So
whole time? Because
the
Putin
whole time.
also went to one of those indoctrination universities. It just wasn't one in our country; it was one in another country.
Yeah.
And then became a member of one of the most elite intelligence divisions in the history of the world. So like, and he's intelligent as fuck. If you listen to him speak, he knows more about American history than American presidents.
Oh yeah.
So not just this one. You know what I'm saying? Like this man is extremely well, and yeah. So playing Donald Trump, that's not hard to do.
Yeah. Well, and he's a, if we look at the genius of Donald Trump, which is basically how to
Like an
confuse a
oxymoron.
person's mental state enough to be able to push over on them. I think that we have to look at the genius that Putin is when it comes to framing something in a way that makes what he wants to do seem right. Like he's very good at propaganda.
No, yeah, no, 100%. That's he's an intelligent man, right? He's got brilliance to him, and he, yes, played the shit out of him, and now he's figuring that shit out, right? And it's
Yeah.
all of this is fun, not fun, but fun. So, and yes, it was definitely an oxymoron for him to say the genius of Trump, dude. That's for sure, bro. That was an
Probably
oxymoron.
the biggest
I'm
oxymoron
not an
ever.
oxymoron. You're an oxymoron. So, that was some good shit. So he definitely he's got he's got more going on, and we have the government oversight onslaught continuing, and I think we're up to 17 inspector generals who have been let go because we can't have people watching us do what we're doing and then
Right.
telling
Well, that's, yeah.
them.
Anybody that's going to them saying, "Hey, I don't think that this is quite right." just like generals in the military, they're cutting out anybody that is willing to stand up to them so that they can put in patsies.
Yep, they need yes men.
It is so dangerous.
It is. It's very Project 2025. It's strange how he had no idea what that was. Um, and he's convinced himself that he's set a tariff trap and he's been successful. And I don't know, bro. This dude is a nut job and a half, right? Like he is a true nut job and a half. Um, I don't know. I'm so interested to see where the pivot is and what are we going to break out of the rut with? Like, because that's the thing is he keeps realizing, oh, I'm in a rut, and then he does something outlandish like bombing Iran, right? Because now that we bomb them, once we bomb them, I realized, yeah, there was no way that we didn't tell Israel, yeah, do it so we can bomb them too. Because
Hmm.
they won't quit talking about this, right? And now he's just letting them straight genocide people, bro. Like I heard a great analogy the other day of how Israel's doing it. They're saying, so there's like a guy showing up to your house and he's got a gun and you don't. And he like points the gun at you and he says, you're in danger. You have to move over here if you want to be safe. So then you move over to this other house and then he shows up there. And then every house you go to has less and less food and more people.
Yeah.
And then he keeps moving you around. And then he says, hey, you have to go to this checkpoint that'll let you into this community of houses where you'll be safe. And then he's slaughtering you at the checkpoint.
Yeah, oops, we blew up the checkpoint.
Yeah. And it's really what's really happened.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
it's
that's a really
horrific.
good
It's
analogy, actually.
right. I heard that analogy. I'm like, that's perfect, right? And it's
It's
horrific what is
it's
happening.
and part of that is the same thing that the Nazis did to them. They moved them from camp to camp so that you couldn't keep track of the population so that you wouldn't know how many victims there actually were. That's exactly what they're doing.
We don't know how many victims there
No,
actually were.
no,
Like
a
that's
lot of it's
something people don't
estimates.
know. It's a strong estimate at this point. I don't want to say it's a it's a strong. World War II is my right. That's my thing. That's my cup of tea. That's my where my history buff lives. I that time frame, the things leading up to it, what happened, troop movements, the war itself, the Holocaust as an out branch of it. Mr. Lindquist, in high school honors history, right? It was we're gonna do it a month or like 5 chapters in a month, 5 chapters in a month, and we're gonna spend the last 3 months of this class doing nothing but the Holocaust. And I'm gonna have a survivor come talk to you and rock your fucking world.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know what
perfect
I'm
perfect
saying?
example of that with what they were doing there as far as the population to what you're saying is going on now is everyone talks about Auschwitz, but nobody talks about Dachau, where there was way more done there
Well,
than at
yeah.
Auschwitz.
So everything's gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody's got something that's the namesake. And how often is it not the right thing?
Yeah,
Like I think there's people who argue it, but I think the closest thing I can think of at the top of my hand in that scenario that is the right thing is Michael Jordan. Everyone knows who Jordan is, even non-sports people, and he probably is the closest. You know what I'm saying? Like that is the pinnacle of basketball, right? Like, but outside of that, any other pinnacle you can bring up, there's going to be 100 people who disagree with it and say, no, this is the pinnacle of that. And I mean, historians are like that. No, this was a much greater battle, and it
Well,
had fucking fish and
that,
it had seamen and
well, and a lot of why Auschwitz is focused on it is because of the amount of documentation that was there.
correct.
So,
that's
there
fair.
was so much like evidence and enough people that were able to testify on it
Yeah,
and then the intelligence that they received on it, all of that is what thrusted that one into the limelight more than the others. But yeah, I mean the whole thing was tragedy
yeah,
and if we look at the progression of the dehumanization and all of that, we see exactly that, you know, Israel is just a, you know, um, they're the largest victims of Stockholm syndrome. They basically started to identify with their abusers, and now they have become the abusers. and
Right.
they're doing it the exact same way because they know that it works. And that is scary. Like the fact that we're watching on the world stage the exact same thing happening, but we're just watching because the people are brown, and they don't believe in Jesus. It I'm mm,
Oh, ultimately, you're pretty right. And it's in a much smaller area than it was happening back then, which would have been much harder to track, even though media is much different today. And there's 9 million satellites that can look at my butt hair. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm a firm believer. Um, so yeah, so we definitely, have all that kind of fun stuff, and it's just when I'm waiting. There's got to be another shoe to drop, and I'm really wondering if they're gonna try to arrest. Like I want to know they are. They're gonna try to arrest somebody. It's gonna happen. I just want to know how high up the chain they're willing to go. Like, are they really going to try to put Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton in handcuffs? Like, I don't think so. I really don't. Like, hey,
how they know that's talking. Those are good talking points,
Smoke
but
and
great
mirrors. Yeah,
talking
that I
point.
don't think
Yeah.
that'll ever come to light.
But that's chief staffer in one of their, White House or campaign, maybe. So I think they might be willing. Well, I'm curious. We'll see. We'll see. And I think that what really sucks about MAGA is if they don't, they're probably going to get Bondi fired. Because it'll be like the fourth or fifth time they lashed out against her. And as much as I don't like her, and she's a fucking nut job, and she's already proven to be, um, what, unethical in that type of job, like when she was in Florida and did completely corrupt shit.
Yeah.
Um, it's really weird how, but when she doesn't arrest people they want her to arrest, it's because they haven't broken the law. Other people have told you they've broken the law, but they haven't actually broken the law because that's not actually real. That's the old
right.
spinning, spin, spin. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So
Well, and that's the big problem is that, you know, something is spun up and then Trump gets a hold of it. He believes it to be true. So then he pushes his people to go out there and talk about it. And then in his head, that means, oh, that means that it's real and that we're going to actually win this. And what I said is actually going to happen. And then it doesn't, and then he gets upset. So that's why we don't see Hegseth anymore. That's why, they rotate them to the back so that they don't get fired like they did in the first round.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. You know nobody. He's real quiet,
who's
and
that?
he Hex
Yeah, well, he his
whiskey.
job was really on the line there when this last report just came out. Did you hear about it? About the whole information leak and whatnot. Like they
Again,
determined that it was secret information that he let loose.
no
So
shit. It
I did
was.
no
hear about that.
shit.
I didn't get a chance to read too much in it, but I did see the headline.
No
Yeah,
way,
so
dude. You're telling me that where we're bombing and how we're bombing and where we're sending the bombers from is it's secret?
that's top secret?
You're
What?
fucking
Sounds familiar.
you're fucking with me, right? Like, dude, whenever I play Call of Duty, all my other teammates know what I'm doing.
Right.
So no, that's no. Okay, so no, I did not see that. I really love that report came out and said the
Yeah,
fucking obvious. And I'm really
right.
not shocked that because I pull mainstream news and have been in a weird segment
Yeah,
of Twitter that I didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? So because that's not one they're going to want to talk about.
right.
And I'm
Sounds a
in
whole
deep.
lot like Benghazi.
Well, it's because I don't know if it's intentional or because I commented too many. Like some people seem to think it's intentional. I seem to think it's user error. So I've commented and liked comments under too many of these, cat turdish woo-hoos. Um, and not enough of the like media spin, but online
Yeah.
MAGA folk, right? Or so the leftists are disappearing because most of the leftists that have bigger followings that the algorithm will put in front of me are blocked by the cuckoo cult because we've argued with them and made too much sense at one point.
Right.
And like we've made people in the comment section go, but wait, that makes sense. And they're like, no, they're gonna give her one of our Kool-Aid drinkers. You gotta stop. It's bad. So it's
He has
bad.
made it past 6 months officially, though.
I never thought he wasn't going to make it past 6 months. There's people out there like, are the Republicans willing to impeach him? Fuck no.
No, I'm talking about
And
Hex.
well,
Oh,
oh,
yeah. I mean, really, the fact that we haven't had any major firings yet is, I mean,
Yeah, because
so
I mean, I would
surprising to
I would
me.
have to look back, but I'm pretty sure he had quite a few his
Three.
first term within the
Yeah,
first
there was
6
like
months.
3 in the first 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 in the first 6 months.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think Elon kind of got the boot. I think it was just more quiet.
Yeah.
I think a
He
couple
was
of
never an
people,
official employee anyway.
Right. Did you guys see that what I shared? He just gave a couple million to super PACs.
Yeah.
No, yeah, 100%.
Yep. So he's not completely gone. He's still, he may not be in Trump's favor right now, but he's still playing the game to
he's
get
helping
some favor as far as like, subsidies for his companies and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I think he's putting a lot of money into super PACs that are actually going to back up America PAC candidates.
The third party.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are super PACs that have kind of leaned towards him now. His I'm going to do this has been fairly consistent.
Yeah, he seems
And
kind of hell bent on it, don't he?
I kind of learned two things about him when he like goes on and on and on and on and on and on a ketamine craze. Usually not, but when he's slow and consistent to where he doesn't talk about it for a few days, then he talks about it a lot in a day, and then he doesn't talk about it for a few more days or a week, and then he talks about it a lot. He actually tends to see these things through, like Doge was one of those things. Like it slowly right. So like it's him testing the water a little bit and seeing, do I still have traction? Okay, I do have traction. Let me put some money behind it. Like I said, I've never thought he was an idiot. You know what I'm saying? I thought he's an idiot savant. But I never thought he was an idiot. I just think he's a guy who's really good at what he's good at, and he's definitely he's gotta be on the spectrum, dude. He's gotta be. And that's not a diss. Like there's a reality to people on the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? And like this is it. I think autism is the next evolution, but we're definitely not getting into that in the podcast. I'm not doing that. But I think it's the next evolution.
I think that based on societal.
I don't think vaccines caused it. I think they allowed for it.
No, I don't believe any of that. I think
allowed for it. They kept enough of us alive for long enough that we could actually go through another evolution because we're living past the age of 35.
Right.
So I saw this the other day. This is really, woo, this is a humdinger. From caveman to 1850, the lifespan was 30 years.
Well, yeah, because if you got an abscess tooth, you died 3 days later.
But we were eating organic back then. That's for sure.
Right.
And it didn't extend our health, and it didn't do this, and it didn't do. It took science intervening, and then from 1850 to 1900, a 50-year period, we got it up to 35. So. Yeah, in 45,000 years, we didn't get it up any. And then we got it up 5 years in that first 50, and then it started exponentially growing after that. Well, yeah, no, it exponentially started growing, right? But I thought it was really interesting that it was Neil deGrasse Tyson that I saw talking about it. And when he was like, and we were eating organic then, and we were doing that, and we were like all these things we should do to prolong our health, and we were definitely doing that back then. And
getting plenty of sunshine.
yeah, it wasn't helping, right? Like, so, and you're right for things like that, right? We didn't understand medical science. We didn't understand science. We didn't understand, right? Now that we understand those things and we're capable of those things, we've pressed the issue, we've expanded the lifespan to, what is the average age of a male now? Like 65, 68,
Mm,
and then a woman's like
73.
72. Is a man only
73.
73?
Yeah.
Damn, dude, man, that's exciting and disappointing all at the same time. So my
But
back
here's a little
hurts, dude.
trivia
I'm
fun
tired.
fact about science. Do you know what the most or the least studied, I'll say, topic, I guess, in science is? Nutrition.
Science,
oh,
probably.
shit. No, it's
I don't
not.
know.
Yes,
I
it
don't know if
is.
that's I don't know how true or untrue that is. It doesn't
that's
like
that's a false stat. Um,
nutrition's a weird. I don't think science would. I think it might be a true stat because science isn't going to look at
It
actual
is a true
nutrition,
stat
right?
because there's a certain ex of mine
Yeah,
who
but
was studying that at a certain university here in town, and that was in her book.
see, I honestly think that that does make sense because they don't study that. That's not the
it's
portion of
so
it
so
they
that's
study.
that's
They don't
because
study that
you're
portion of it. They
classifying
study this
nutrition as
portion.
something
Yeah,
separate than a lot of
right.
other science that goes into nutrition.
Molecular biology and
Exactly. You know, like
thermodynamics and
everything that we know about nutrition is because of molecular
other sciences,
biology,
right?
chemistry, like so, okay, maybe if you want to classify nutrition studies as the least and it by itself without adding in all of this body of evidence that has led us to this science, then maybe. But that's like saying that psychology is, you know, um,
All theory.
science because it was philosophy 50 years ago because
That's
we
all.
didn't actually have, um, we weren't applying the scientific method to experimentation that led to psychological proofs and things like that. So
This is also true. So, but being still we're here, um, and because there's not a lot of new topics, there's just a lot in the same topics.
here's an old one
It's
for us, real quick, before
and
you move on.
it's an oldie and a goodie.
Yeah,
Tower fucking.
FAA came out with
So the
with
tower didn't warn the plane.
yep that
Why?
the Black Hawk was traveling in its path.
But why? I'll have to look into that. I'm really
I'm sure
curious
they
about
just
that
thought
one.
that the Black Hawk was going to be low and out of the way in time.
So
So
we haven't found out the Black Hawk was doing anything wrong.
no, the Black Hawk
Not
wasn't traveling where it should have been, but it probably was within bounds. So
fair. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a good week politically, and I like the science piece, and I was having a reminiscent thought pattern the other night. I was thinking about some conversations I've had in my altered states and my teenage years, and
it's funny.
I came to it's because you shaved your face, and it brought me back. So now I see you with hair down to your ass again, except for
Right.
the sides are shaved. So we actually do live in a simulation because our brains make up reality.
Right. Our
Because
well, so
everything
you're going
about
into philosophy of the flesh.
well no, so red isn't a real thing, right? Red is what our brains dictate a certain wavelength of light,
Right.
right? A certain wavelength of light is red, but red is actually just a wavelength of light,
Yeah,
and our brains interpret it, right?
and it's a reflection of red.
That
So things
wavelength,
aren't
because
red.
all the other
Things
wavelengths are absorbed, right? Everything
right.
else is be all the other wavelengths are being absorbed. So I
Exactly.
wasn't going the color route, I was going that our brain decides, therefore it is a simulation.
Hmm.
So it's what our brain has decided the simulation looks like, and it is, because in actuality it's a whole lot of things that aren't what you think they are. It's a wavelength or another wavelength or a frequency. or a tempo. There's a lot of things that things really boil down to in their core components. But
Well, and especially
before
if you start
before
to get
science
into
is outlawed, I figured maybe I put that out there, right? Like
well,
we
and
live.
if you get into what we understand what atoms are, and how electrons exist and stuff, it's
Do
actually
we?
not, little cluster of, little balls.
Every
It's
time we ram them fuckers together, we find out some other shit we didn't know.
yeah, it's really just
So
a frequency and
yeah.
a
Well,
pulse.
there's
So
the one, right? Like the fuck, what is it? Oh, it doesn't exist until you observe it.
oh, the God particle.
No,
That's what they
no,
call it. Yeah.
no. There was testing done long time ago, long before
Yeah.
we knew there was a God particle.
No, that
Um,
that is the God particle.
where in the laser testing, and it would go on both sides of the divide.
Yeah, the Higgs boson
Yeah,
boson. So
so and it
that's the
would go
God
on either
particle.
side of the divide. And then when we observe it, it always went the same way a billion
Yep.
trillion times. And then as soon as we stopped observing it, it went back to being random.
Yep.
Dude, it's all what your brain perceives it to be.
Yep.
So your door to reception needs to just come open a little bit, and then you realize jump in the fuck stick.
Some
So
something that I watched this week that goes right into that is that if you look at human evolution and the way that we came up as intellectual beings, you look at nutrition. This goes to you,
oh, here
Josh.
the fuck we
Um,
go.
so so when you look at nutrition and the way that we go about finding food and foraging and whatnot, there's evidence that we've been using psilocybin and fungus to trip or to alter our state of being since long before we had um, writing and language. So what they're talking about is that possibly by eating those things and altering our state of being, we actually created the or because of what it does to your brain, where it alters your reality and the way that you think about things changes, the way that your brain operates changes when you go on a trip. And they're thinking that possibly by us doing that, we actually spurred the evolution of our prefrontal cortex. So through experimentation with that and then using it in a ritualistic way, we actually grew our brains into the thinking machines that they are today.
Well, neural pathways are most related to fungal growth patterns. So
Oh, so you're talking about the Phyllis or the
no,
network? The,
yeah, networking,
yeah.
correct. So, but all right, it's another week. It is Bluebird on your shoulder. Whole lot of Trump, little bit of science, little bit of Dare was wrong. Nobody ever offered me drugs every day of my life, and they made me think that it would happen 6 times a day.
Trip to trip. Don't
So
let the trip trip you.
well, that is good advice for anybody ever. So, but yeah, until next week, we'll be whispering on your shoulder. Like, share, throw a subscribe. I don't know. You hit the button somebody did recently. I'm super nice. So outside of that, we'll be back next week, and maybe he'll do something really fucking entertaining this week. He's due. He's due. That's all I'm saying.
Right, right.
So he's due. But other than that, everyone take care of yourself. Bye bye for now.
Yeah.